The Pentagon's AI already knows when and where the next war will start, and they're not telling you. Subscribe to know what's coming.
The Pentagon's AI already knows when and where the next war will start, and they're not telling you. But honestly, look at the numbers and you can see why they're panicking. $25 billion. Seriously, take a second and let that massive number just sink in. That is the financial black hole of just the first 60 days of the ongoing US-Iran conflict, what they're calling epic fury. When we talk about global conflict right now, we aren't just talking about battlefield strategy anymore. We are talking about a burn rate that is literally straining the largest defense budget on Earth to its breaking point.
And because of that terrifying burn rate, we are at a total breaking point, both human and strategic. Listen to this. Acting Secretary of the Navy, Hung Kao, recently stood in front of the defense industry and gave this incredibly raw personal warning. I'm not going to have my son go to war the way I did. Military leaders are basically desperate to avoid repeating the grinding, sprawling mistakes of the global war on terror. And to pull that off, they're attempting a pivot toward advanced technology that is entirely unprecedented.
So, welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to break down this massive, highly classified shift happening deep inside the Pentagon right now. We're watching a real-time historical transition. We're moving away from traditional heavy metal warfare and sprinting toward a highly autonomous, AI-driven future. It's a complex, unbelievably high-stakes transformation.
Okay, here's our roadmap. We'll be looking at the 2026 global battlefield, the staggering cost of epic fury, the Pentagon's AI pivot, how they're building autonomous arsenals, the rising agentic AI threat, and finally, the ultimate civilizational challenge all of this presents. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The 2026 global battlefield, stretched thin across the globe.
To really understand why the military is suddenly obsessed with AI, you got to look at the logistical nightmare they're currently facing as a catalyst. General Eric Smith pointed out a terrifying capacity gap recently. Look at this chart. Right now, combatant commands are actively demanding 6 amphibious ready groups, but the Marine Corps' sustainable capacity? It's exactly half that, just 3. Demand is quite literally double the supply. It's putting extreme, unsustainable physical strain on traditional naval assets that simply cannot be everywhere at once. And even when those assets do deploy, the physical footprint is just staggering. Take the recent Balakatan exercise out in the Pacific. The U.S. Army's 25th Infantry Division had to pack up and physically deploy entirely new weapons systems just to practice repelling amphibious assaults. Preparing for a conventional war involves a massive amount of gear. It's heavy, it's expensive, and man, is it slow to move around. Which brings us to Section 2, the cost of epic fury. $25 billion and counting.
When those physical, heavy forces actually enter a hot zone, the financial realities are brutal. The strikes in Iran kicked off on February 28th. By day 60, the Pentagon had to look Congress in the eye and admit that an estimated $25 billion had already evaporated. Poof, gone. And hovering right next to that nightmare price tag is a ticking political clock, the 60-day War Powers Resolution limit. That's approaching incredibly fast, and it's raising serious legal alarms about whether a prolonged war is even authorized.
Plus, we're not just talking about the cost of fuel and ammo here. We're talking about catastrophic physical losses. The Air Force's top general literally had to ask for a supplemental 2027 budget because dozens of U.S. aircraft were completely destroyed during epic fury. You don't just patch up a multi-million-dollar jet when it goes down. You have to replace the whole thing, which triggers these massive, incredibly slow-moving budget panics.
All right, Section 3, the Pentagon's AI pivot, moving from hardware to software.
Staring down these totally unsustainable costs, the Pentagon is scrambling for an exit strategy from the hardware trap. I mean, think about the sluggish reality of the traditional route. You're upgrading engines on ancient B-52 bombers just to keep them in the sky past 2050, or spending decades arguing over designs for a new attack helicopter. Now, compare that massive, multi-billion-dollar physical commitment to the agility of software. You've got units like Kessel Run deploying AI for command and control, or DARPA funding self-organizing drone swarms. Software scales instantly. Hardware for sure does not.
And the military is moving at absolutely breakneck speed to adopt this software-first mindset. Just recently, 8 different AI firms were cleared to operate on classified Pentagon networks. They're doing this deliberately so they don't get trapped by a single vendor monopoly. At the same time, Special Operations Command is integrating autonomy into literally everything they do. Space Force is suddenly pulling off these agile, last-minute rocket swaps. And the Army is throwing hackathons out at Fort Carson, bringing in tech vendors to figure out how to instantly link up dozens of disconnected weapon systems.
Moving to Section 4, building autonomous arsenals.
smarter, self-organizing systems.
So how exactly are the branches actually integrating this tech to fix the manpower shortage? Well, they're building systems that can basically run themselves. The Air Force has a very concrete plan for this. Step 1. A specialized tech unit known as Kessel Run is spearheading the software side. Step 2. They take that artificial intelligence and wire it directly into the Air Operations Center weapons system. Step 3. Push that AI-enhanced brain straight out to the combatant commands. This isn't science fiction anymore, guys. It is happening right now.
And then you have DARPA, the Pentagon's advanced research arm. There's this huge irony in modern warfare right now. So-called uncrewed weapons actually require a massive amount of people to pilot and monitor them. They aren't truly autonomous at all. Well, DARPA's budget for autonomous warfare is going through the roof to fix exactly that. They're funding self-organizing drone swarms that make their own localized decisions, dramatically stripping away the need for a huge team of human operators.
Section 5. The Agentic AI Threat, a Double-Edged Sword.
Now, as we push further into this digital era, we really have to talk about the dark side. We are entering the age of agentic AI. What is that? It's artificial intelligence that acts autonomously to achieve complex goals without needing a human to constantly hold its hand. This capability is exactly why the Pentagon is drooling over it for drone swarms, but it is also why it's a total nightmare when adversaries unleash it in cyberspace.
Pentagon leaders are waking up to the fact that agentic AI is, quote, giving cybercriminals nation-state-like powers. Think about what that actually means. A tiny group of hackers doesn't need to spend thousands of hours manually probing networks anymore. An agentic AI can do the whole shebang autonomously. It's rapidly and terrifyingly leveling the playing field between some random lone actor and the full weight of the US government.
In fact, the threat is moving so incredibly fast that our entire national policy had to pivot. The White House recently announced that cyber operations are now officially integrated into U.S. counterterrorism strategy. Seriously, let that sink in. Hacking isn't just an IT problem anymore. It's classified in the exact same bucket as counterterrorism, purely as a way to deter these highly empowered AI-backed foreign threats. Moving faster just isn't enough anymore. The whole paradigm had to change.
And finally, Section 6, a civilizational challenge, the future of command.
Recently, the former head of the Pentagon's think tank actually left his government post to join Anthropic, a major AI firm. But on his way out the door, he dropped a pretty stark warning. He called the military and societal adaptation to AI a civilizational challenge. This is way bigger than just buying some new gadgets. It's a fundamental rewrite of how societies fight, defend, and exist in the digital age.
Which leaves us with one incredibly vital question. As warfare inevitably moves at the speed of software, how does human command actually fit into this autonomous era? If a machine can think, organize, and strike faster than human cognition, what exactly is the role of a general or a soldier? It's something we absolutely have to figure out, and fast. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and know exactly what's coming next, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you in the next one.